Good evening, Sydney. Thank you for coming on Sports Talk with C.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So tell me who you are and where you're from.
I am Sidney Cooks. I am born and raised in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Been a lot of states, but that's my hometown.
So what was the basketball culture growing up in Wisconsin?
I would say boring to this day. You know, you don't hear about, a lot of people coming out of Wisconsin, women to be honest, African American women coming out of Wisconsin and really getting to it. But different. And I think like someone like Enrique could relate to it because whenever we'll tell someone like, yeah, I'm from Wisconsin, it's always the same kind of stare like, oh, really? Okay, interesting. So
So speaking of that, and you said it's kind of boring. What was one of the reasons that you started playing basketball or you picked up a basketball?
4 or 5 years old. I have two older brothers, and the middle child is 6'7". So he hit his growth spurt really early, obviously was really into sports. And my mom would say I'd be at his games coaching him and acting like I was one of the reps. So she was like, all right, enough of this. You give it a try. And that's kind of how I got started. And my dad played a little like rec league as well. I remember being young going to his games and stuff. So I think it's kind of always been in the family, but I'm the one who's kind of just elevated with it.
Okay, so when you hear the word basketball, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Ooh, when I hear basketball, I'm gonna say peace. That's
Peace?
been my peace. Yep.
And when you say the word piece, you say that it's your piece.
Mhm.
So just explain that. So when someone looks for it, so when you say piece, is it something that you look for an outlet when you're going through things, or just explain to us what do you mean when you say your piece?
Absolutely. I think it's such an outlet for myself, and I think other athletes can relate to that. Even when things aren't necessarily going bad in my life, it's fun.
Hmm.
Um, it's a way to express yourself, and I just think basketball, especially at the levels that I've played at, have taken me all over the world. And that's something that like as a kid I wouldn't have thought of, that wow, I get to travel for free just because I know how to put a ball in the basket. So the older I get, the more grateful I become for the game. And I really look back like, yeah, this is my piece. This is how I can calm down, have fun, meet new people, go new places, kind of all together.
So when did you know you were like nice and you knew that you had a gift that you could take you to all these places that you say around the world and meet new people?
As early as sixth grade. That's how I got my first Division 1 offer.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was Purdue University, and I was like, "All right, this can turn into something." I loved softball. I did so much more than just basketball. I was first
nice.
baseman for softball. I played four instruments. I was at piano lessons. Like there was a bunch of stuff. My parents kept me busy, but after so many tournaments and playing up, I think I was like playing in the ninth or 10th grade leagues, and definitely in that sixth and seventh grade era of my life. And yeah, the offers start coming in, letters are pouring in, and we were like, all right, this is clearly the sport where I'm getting these full ride scholarships. And at that point, I didn't even know what it meant, but everyone in my city was like, oh, that's great. So
Right.
basketball, yeah, it's super early, super duper early for me.
And how did that make you feel? Just being in the sixth grade, you're getting offers, getting letters. Just speak to how that made you feel, not only as an athlete, but also as a woman athlete.
Right. It never really overwhelmed me. I
Right.
think my parents had installed a very good balance of like me being grateful and understanding things, but being humble with it.
Mm-hmm.
But having a lot of confidence in the type of player I was becoming. So even, there's huge articles coming out, or like some people be like, "You're in the newspaper." I'm like, I didn't even know I was in the newspaper. I would think just throughout all of kind of my accolades, I've always been very just humble and grateful, and kind of just celebrate with myself or with my family, but nothing that is too major, too out of hand, that made me like out of place with all these offers coming in and all that. It was kind of just like, all right, that's cool. We'll make a decision one day, and let's keep it moving until then.
Speaking of decision, how did you know what school would be for you? How do you, being in the nature that you are in, getting all these offers, how did you know which would be the best school was for you? Like, I know you're currently didn't start at Seton Hall, but just take us through that journey and how you ended up at Seton Hall.
Right. So I think because I was so young and I've had those relationships with a lot of the college coaches, my biggest thing when I had a top five in high school was loyalty.
Okay.
Who was around literally since middle school, who have stayed at their programs. Because I understood at that point, like assistant coaches are come and go, but are these the same head coaches that offered me since day one? And when it came down to it, my final five were Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, Wisconsin, and UCLA. And those were all the schools that I had known for 5+ years now. So going into it, Michigan State, they were the second school that actually had offered me in sixth grade.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so it's only a 4-hour drive. We would go up there for games all the time, and I just got really comfortable with the incoming girls and then obviously the coaches as well. And I just really liked that it was far enough to be an adult and learn myself and just learn how to be on my own for a while. But if something was to happen, I could always just a car ride home.
Right.
And then my parents ended up surprising me with a car anyway, so it worked out.
Ooh.
Um, right? Then, I spent my first 2 years there. Numbers were pretty good, and it wasn't even the school. It was necessarily like the conference for me. I
Okay.
thought the Big Ten wasn't as versatile as I play, and I
Okay.
didn't think that style of play was gonna, help me get to another level. So kind of, explained that, and then went on to find another choice, and Mississippi State popped up. And I honestly I've heard about like Mississippi State, and they were clearly on the rise and just went to the Final Four and all of that. But like back in my day when middle school, they weren't as high.
Okay.
So I had no idea that Mississippi State really until the Final Four stuff, which I was already in college by then. So I went to visit there. It was between there, Kentucky, and NC State. Went to Mississippi State. I was like, oh, this is awesome. My family lives only an hour away from Starkville. My dad was born and raised in Mississippi. So kind
Nice.
of getting back to those Southern roots was really exciting for me. And just seeing the way that Vic Schaefer knew how to win was like, I wanted that. I was thirsty for that. So I didn't care what it was going to take. I'm like, look, I'll sit out this year. I'll learn the program and I'll get my body right. And then when my opportunity comes, like, I'll be ready. We get a coaching change. He goes to Texas. We get Nikki McCray. We struggled that season. I don't even know if we were thought about for the WNIT. Just, frustrating on the players' part. We couldn't really get it together. And the same thing. I'm like, okay, I'm about to graduate. I love the SEC, but like selfishly, I want to go somewhere where I know I am a primary option.
Mm.
Because a lot of people don't know at Mississippi State, I was playing the three. And although
Oh,
I can shoot the ball,
yes, you can.
it was like, yeah, I was like, I can shoot, but I'm not trying to run to the corner every time. I'm a little
Right.
too big to be doing that every time. Um, so I was there with Andra, and she was my roommate for the 2 years there. And she ended up leaving before Nikki McCrae came, and she came to Seton Hall. I think they were like her first offer. So she hit me up and she's like, "Look, best friend, you're not feeling it. Come out here." And I didn't do a visit. I didn't even do a virtual tour. I I got on the phone with them and I was just like, you know what? They say they need me. They don't just want me, because I knew I could go anywhere and potentially start and
Hmm.
have some decent minutes and good amount of points. But Coach Bozzella kept saying like,
I
I
love him.
need you. I need you. And no, he's so great. And I was like, you know what, whatever, let's go see what they're talking about. So ended up graduating from Mississippi State, and before I knew, I was on a flight coming out to South Orange. It was on my second time being in New York. So I had landed in New York and then drove all the way here, going through Newark. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I'm low-key a country girl. This
I
is a
hate
lot.
going through New
I
York.
don't know how to handle it. Like what? And then I'm like, I'm in a studio apartment. I'm used to, my nice big house or big apartments. But I adjusted, and Seton Hall has been the great fit for me, and I am definitely happy that I finished my career here. It was definitely about business here. I think obviously I'm my big girl age, for a D1 player. I'm kind of old, and yeah, I definitely don't regret coming here at all. This is a great way to finish out my college career.
That is what's up. I love to hear it. And yes, Coach Bozzella is absolutely amazing. I love him. But we're gonna bring it back. You said that the Big Ten wasn't like your style of play. So what is your style of play? How do you like to play?
Inside, outside. Um,
Ooh, my kind of girl.
yes, I try to go wherever is best, wherever the
Okay.
mismatches are. Put me there. Definitely this year, I relied more on my three than I ever have in my entire life. I truly didn't even know I could shoot the three this good. I really didn't.
You do
But
shoot it very well.
thank you.
You
But
came to Providence when my cousin plays and, put us,
uh,
put little shots down on us. But I was like, hey, she got game, so I gotta love it regardless.
look, I was getting very frustrated with the double and triple teams, and they were coming hard. And I'm like, yo, I have not dealt with this since high school. And it was happening last year, but we had Andra, who's such a
Hmm.
threat from the perimeter.
Yes.
You had to respect her shot. So it opened it up for any
The
pick and
difference in
roll.
the Big East
Yeah.
tournament from last year when she was there to this year was totally different on how they go
Yeah.
to you guys.
Right. So it's like now I kind of had to pick up on the threes because we were lacking that as a team, but then also trying to understand, like, all right, you got to be the 5 man too and get down here and do some
Hmm.
moves down here and the rebound and all that. So that was the adjustment for me, but I made it work somehow. And yeah, I'm definitely proud of myself fighting through this final season with the way that my body was feeling and the doubles, like I said, and just really a newer team because our starting five, two of our key players had left. So
Hmm.
it was an adjustment, but thanking God that he helped me with this 3-point shot.
So speaking of game and your shot this year, just this year alone, if you could describe your game in one word, what would it be?
Oh, in one word. Oh my, I don't know. I'll say This year, I'll just say fun
Okay.
because I feel like every game, whether we were winning or losing, um, he gave me the position of being a captain. So I understood it was so much more than myself.
Okay.
And being able to kind of pour into my teammates, like we had one freshman and I made her my baby. Like any moment that I could like just not think of myself and give to them, it made it so much more fun. And I think when we were winning, when we were really competing, you could see that I was showing so much more emotion. If I'm getting an and one, I'm yelling, I'm engaging with the crowd, and that's stuff that I hadn't did even last year at my previous school. So I think I kind of showed people like, okay, so it can get a little crazy out there if she needs to. She can get excited. So.
That's good though. It's always good to get the crowd involved, especially in big games or games where, you need the crowd to get involved just to get over that little hump or change, the pace of the game. Um, but can you just speak to, because, we spoke about Tony, and a lot of people don't get coaching or coaching staff that are great or for you or about you. So can you just speak to being the fact that you finished your collegiate career here, about how great it is to have a coach that feeds into you as a person?
Oh, it is so important. Um, the way I came into Seton Hall, he knew he had watched film back when I was probably in middle school. He
Wow.
had studied everything, his staff studied everything. So when I came in, it wasn't a matter of I want to change this or we're going to make you do this. It was like, I already know you had this in your bag. I just
Mm-hmm.
need to give you the confidence so you could do it. So if that means we have to change a little something in our system, because truthfully, he was like, I've never coached a player like you. I didn't know you could shoot the ball as well as you do, but
Wow.
also do these fadeaways in the post. Like I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of learning each other. And he always says this analogy like we're married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you heard that.
Oh,
Um,
when I interviewed him, he said, "Me and my
yeah,
girls, we have a marriage."
yeah. So there were plenty of days where I've been in the office and I'm mad at him or he's mad at me and we go at it and then walk out like nothing's happened and just go on the floor and like he never gave up. That's the thing. You could play bad and some coaches are like, whatever, you figure it out on your own. No, it was, I could probably still have a double double, but that double double could have been so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll bring you in his office and be like, look, I'm not trying to get on you, but look, you trying to go here. This is what we have to do. And it's never just him. It's the whole staff. And they're
Wow.
all doing their individual parts and how can we make this better? So when I got here, they had a plan for me. I kind of got more under Coach Jose as like, I guess my position coach. We don't really even have position coaches here, which I loved because then you get a little bit from everyone. And me and him just went weight room, gym, nonstop, so that there were no excuses to be had. And then there's other days that I can go in the office and I just bother them. I have a dog who's actually on her best behavior right now, which is
Love
weird.
it.
And he has a dog, so we would talk about them. We'll bring the dogs in so they could play. Um, he'll order pizza. Like it's just so laid back, and that's why I say I'm so grateful that it was my last 2 years here because it could have went good or bad, and it
Right.
exceeded my expectations of good for sure.
That is what's up. That's what I love to hear, because I've heard some stories where coaches ruin basketball for some. And when you hear coaches, are great and they continue to keep that dream alive, it's just a great thing to hear. And I love Tony. He kept my dream alive when I first met him at the Big East tournament. So he's just absolutely amazing. And
And
every person.
sometimes I'm like, Coach B, like, you a good coach, but man, you need to be a motivational speaker. Like, one thing you can do on this staff is motivate us. Like, you get me going every
Right.
time.
I didn't know him from a hole in the wall. He came and said, he's like, I love your nails. Don't change that about you. I was like, okay. And then he was the only person in the media that addressed me by my name. And he's
Mhm.
like, don't change anything about you. That's what makes you you. So, and every time he comes down to Providence, he said I always run to his bench and talk to him. And my cousin's Janae. So he always be like, I love your cousin. And he always speaks
My
to me. So
gosh.
he is the absolute like person is he 100 out of 100. He's absolutely the
And
best.
that's
So
so funny that that is your cousin, because I remember when she didn't commit to Michigan State originally on her official visit, I'm the one who got yelled at for it. I was the host. So I was like, the fact you want to go there after is crazy.
right, and
But
then
she's
look.
a bucket.
So
Right. Now we both in
what
the
is
Big
it?
East.
Right now, you both ended up in the biggies. Look at that. So, what is next for you? What is after graduating? What is next for you? Overseas basketball, or what is your like? What are you going to school for, by the way?
I'm getting my master's in public administration.
Nice.
So honestly, right now, for anyone who is watching this year, I was struggling health wise. I have to get my knees together. There's nothing major going on. It's literally just old lady stuff, just doing a lot of basketball and not really taking time to rest. So I'm looking to do that. I will stick around Seton Hall and still work out. And then I have signed with the agent and looking to go pro overseas probably end of August and start that pro career. Yeah.
That is what's up. That's what I like to hear. Well, hope you get them knees,
Yeah, I'm gonna
worked
get a
out. Get them right, girl, because you got to continue to get those buckets overseas and show them what you are made of. Because I would love to continue to see you play. And with your degree, what are some things that you can work in, like what type of field?
it's big. Like I could be a governor. I could go
Ooh,
somewhere and be a mayor. I can probably go into the police industry.
oh,
Um Me, I know that I'm probably always gonna want to be around sports some way,
okay,
somehow. So a lot of my focus is on like nonprofits.
okay.
So it could be something as opening up my own nonprofit organization. It has something to do with sports, mental health, in that direction. Um, I'm really looking into like maybe internships where I can see some HR places over sports, kind of looking at what are they called? Our finances department,
Oh, okay.
stuff like that. Kind of just a broad
Uh,
thing. Like there's a
all
lot of
areas of the sports world.
right, a lot of leadership training in my field. Obviously, HR is really big for it. So something I can kind of move over into the sports world without being in someone's office.
I know that's
At least
right.
not the government office.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Well, thank you, Sydney, for coming on Sports Talk with C. I appreciate your time and your energy, of course, and good luck to you in your pro career or whatever you do decide. And, guys, make sure you look out for Sydney overseas. And thank you again.